911, what's the address of your emergency?
But we've been having a lot of burglaries and break-ins around here lately, so I've never seen this guy before in the neighborhood.
There is an African-American man. I'm in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog.
Yeah, and illegally selling water without a permit?
It's illegal to have a charcoal grill in the park here.
We have this lady that's been, for no apparent reason, is walking from house to house.
I had my own experience of having the police called on me. As I continue to process this, what really went through my mind was that I had failed and that my number had been called. I was, I remember that I was alone and I was out there and I was doing the work that I felt I was called to do. But somehow I had made a mistake. I had done something to call attention to myself.
Broadly speaking, across most of the country, it's against the law to make up a crime and report that to the police. But what some of these instances, like what we saw in Central Park, have done is they've spurred activists to say, and some lawmakers to say, let's take this a little further.
We're very good in this country at telling other people how they should live their lives and how they should act, how we preach a high standard, but we still discriminate on the basis of color of skin. That is the simple, painful truth.
So what they've proposed doing in New York is adding a hate crime enhancement to, or making it possible to add a hate crime enhancement to, calling 911 on someone because they're Black, or, and for any other discriminatory reason. And what that does is that then allows for a more severe sentencing. And that's something that they've also considered and passed to some extent, or in varying ways, so far in Oregon and New Jersey and in Washington state as well.
So I hoped that it would give Black people in particular some sense of comfort, that they could move freely about this state and have some avenue for redress.
Oregon's took effect January 1st, and Washington's law takes effect actually in a week on June 11th.
Here's the piece of the bill that I think is most important. It allows people to have a feedback circle in their communities as to how they were harmed by someone calling the police on them. And so we shifted from a criminal misdemeanor as the penalty for this to the ability to face that person in court, the ability to have like an arbitration session where you sit down across from one another and you tell that person how they hurt you.
There was a lot of, discussion on Twitter, on social media after the Central Park incident, with people wondering, or pointing out that this ended, fairly well, right, for the man who was bird watching, right? And in many other instances that we know of, it doesn't end well for Black men when people call the police on them.
The catalyst for this was a call to the police over a $20 bill, right? And so, it kind of calls into question, how dangerous are we? How dangerous is it to have Black people in your community? Once people realize that all Black people are asking for, and brown people are asking for and demanding and have every right to demand, is to be treated humanely. That's it.